How's it going, chaps? Welcome to this beautiful breezy spring day in Spain. Today I'm cooking it's a full English breakfast, not really, depends on what you call a full English breakfast, but it's a fried breakfast, a fry up, just made with some slightly different ingredients that you can get hold of in Spain easier. A lot of stuff that goes into a full English breakfast back in the UK you can't get hold of so easy out here, especially where we live. So that's what we're cooking today. The challenge for today is I'm cooking a big man's fry up on a tiny cooker, and I want it all to be nice and warm, if not hot, by the time I'm finished cooking it all. So that's the challenge for today, so let's just jump straight into the cook. So I'm not going to go through every ingredient on the cook, but as you can see from that kind of smorgasbord of food, this is quite an ambitious cook on the Trangia. Not technically difficult in terms of the fact that you're just frying stuff, but yeah, it's quite a lot to try and get cooked on the Trangia Mini and have a hot meal at the end of it. Okay, so let's jump straight into the prep. Oh my god. Pretty much everything is going to be dropped on the floor. Alright, so I'm just going to make my little platter of ingredients down here. Funny light today. This here is morcilla. It's the Spanish blood sausage, that being the Spanish version of kind of black pudding. And then I've got a whole bunch of sausage in there. Okay. Lots of people asking about this little windbreak. As you can see there, it's a Vargo, fits perfectly on the Trangia Mini. So I remembered my kettle today, and the first job on the list, for reasons that will become clear in a minute, is to boil up some water, and it's not for making a cup of tea. So let's let that boil up a second. See, that's just insane already. This here is a mix of the fuel that I had that doesn't burn very hot and methylated spirits. Hopefully that'll work better than just the methylated spirits. Okay, so that's a good boil on that. You'll see what that's for very shortly. On with the fry pan and with a bit of oil. Now, yeah, so I'm cooking stuff in the order of how long they're going to take, because obviously the longer something takes, I want it all to stay warm. The longer something takes to cook, likely it's going to be the longer it takes to dissipate heat as well. I'll show you how I'm going to keep stuff hot in a moment. Now that that's cooking, I'm just making a smidge of powdered mashed potato to just make myself a little dollop of bubble and squeak. Only real basic bubble and squeak, but that was the idea that I had. I thought that would be nice. I didn't bring butter today, so I'll have a little bit of oil in it. Yeah, so this is just absolutely no good, and I need to try and sort it out really. In general, I need to be frying on it quite regularly. That's like, you can see how much is left open there. There's not even a millimetre, maybe just about a millimetre on the widest bit. And that's still going some. There we have, just like a little bit of bubble and squeak, which would be nice. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come off quickly with that, and then on quickly with that water again, just to get that to boil again, and then my plan for keeping stuff hot will start to become clear. So all of this is obviously going to go straight into the pot. You should be able to see this on my second camera. It will just roll up in there nicely. And then the tomato straight in the middle. It's just going to go in there, cover it up nice and tight, keep the heat in. This is going to be almost out of fuel, so I'll get the... It's out of fuel, that's alright. So now we can try, hopefully, this mixture of the two fuels is going to hopefully make it run cooler in general. It's lit alright. Let's just bring this up to the boil again. While that's cooking, I can just make my little bit of bubble and squeak, you know, into like a nice sort of hash brown shape, I guess. Perfect. Okay, so that's boiling again. I'm going to go in with a simmering now in an attempt to just stop it getting too out of hand from the get-go, but we'll see if that works or not. Yeah, we still got heat there, so let's get the fry pan back on and just get some stuff on there cooking while I sort out my heating thing in the background. So this is my morcilla. So this is morcilla, Spanish black pudding basically, or a Spanish blood sausage. Very different taste to black pudding, a much kind of stronger taste, much more flavourful. But as an Englishman, I still prefer good old English black pudding for sure. So we'll just have to keep an eye and make sure that I haven't slowed things down too much. So perhaps just the fuel, the new fuel by itself will be enough. So we'll just try it without the simmering for a bit, and maybe that fuel will be a bit more controllable now that it's basically diluted. And then very quickly down here, so basically I'm going to try, I've not tested this in any way at all. I'm hoping that the kettle will act like a bain-marie. So if I stick out on top of there, oh, it just hasn't quite got a good enough seal. The other way to do it, obviously, although the heat will want to be coming up from the top, is going to be to go like that. So now the kettle's basically sat down on top of it, and then what I could do is put the tin foil underneath it just to kind of insulate it a little bit from below. And that should keep stuff reasonably hot in there, hopefully. So I do just want to keep an eye on that flame, just to catch it before it gets too unmanageable. It seems much better now than it was. Let's just try and see how that runs with the simmering on. Okay, so those mushrooms are going to be pretty good. So, oh yeah, that's still nice and hot down there. So my little plan down here is working. It's kept the pan, the whole pot, really hot throughout, top and bottom. So out with the mushrooms, in with that bad boy. I suppose that's one of the good things actually about the way that this is sized. The kettle doesn't fit in there, but it does create a complete seal on top of it. So for this kind of cooking, where you're trying to make big meals and keep them warm, that's a good little plan. The little potato thing is sticking a little bit. So let's just try and get a bit of oil under this side. So I think me morcilla is done. Get that in here. So that's sausage, mushroom, tomato, and more sear so far. Now we've got a nice bit of room on this side of the pan, so I couldn't get any bacon this week, so we're going to just be frying up a bit of this smoked pork stuff. And it's wafer thin, so I'm going to layer it up a little bit. Right, so I'm going to get that potato out of there. That's not worked as well as I thought it would. I won't put it in the heater thing because it's not. And if I kept going with it, oh, maybe. Yeah, maybe I'll just keep going with it for a bit. Okay, so bacon or the cured pork can go straight into my heated up dish, but the potatoes a little bit all over the shop, so I'm going to stick that to one side. I'll still eat it, it'll still taste nice, but it hasn't crispened up on the outside as much as I'd hoped. Fried bread. This is really working well. Oh no, still rip roaring. Just can't really tell because it's only bread. That'll do me for the toast. I'm starting to get hungry now. And then, of course, last but not least, and it wouldn't be a big breakfast unless you had 2 eggs. And now that will keep just cooking in the background for a minute. If we just cover it up, just to get that top of that egg steamed. So let's get dished up. We have our toast. 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of morcilla. A couple of bits of something similar to bacon. A nice little pile of mushrooms. A tomato. And if I cut the sausage into sort of sausage lengths, I've got pretty much 4 sausages. Hardly any room on my board here. A little pile of fried potato. And then the all important, which has steamed away in the background, 2 eggs. And that is a big breakfast. And I will try one of the sausages because that's what's been on storage longest. Not hot, but far from cold. And that there is a breakfast cooked on a Trangia Mini. A breakfast the size of your head. So let's get a nice thumbnail. Well guys, hopefully you will have seen off the thumbnail that is a pretty legit breakfast. if I do say so myself, considering it was on the Trangia Mini. I'll have a bit of orange juice with it. For me, you've got to have a bit of ketchup. Now there's definitely no need to spend too long watching me eat a fried breakfast. Because we all know how nice a fried breakfast is. That potato was super tasty, even though I didn't really get a chance to cook it for long enough to make it so as the edges of it got really crispy. So yeah, there's no real need for you to sit and watch me eat a breakfast. The goals of that one were to make an absolute, like for an overnighter where you can afford to carry a lot of food, just to see if I can make myself an absolute monster of a fry up and keep it warm using that little trick I used with the kettle from my Trangia 27 and the pot from this obviously Trangia Mini cook set, and it worked really well. So I'm soaked with that. The fuel worked really well, cut in half, half the rubbish stuff and half the methylated spirit, so that was another win. Yeah, total success all round. So I'm just going to sit here, enjoy my breakfast. I've got a 4-day weekend because I booked a couple of days holiday, so I'm super stoked on that. I'm just going to sit here, chill out in the wilderness and just eat my beautiful fry up. Thanks a lot for watching, you guys. On your bikes.